going on, Nerd Army guys? Welcome to the newest episode of Exploring Comics. Today we will be exploring the history and origin of Emma Frost, the blonde bombshell from the X-Men universe. Now this character, all in all, is a great character. Started as a villain, ended up being a hero, still a really cool character. All of those in between, but let's get right into her origin and check her out. Alright guys, here we go. Now, Emma Frost would make her first appearance in comics in Uncanny X-Men number 129. Now, we would discover that Emma was actually from a wealthy family, but she was picked on and bullied throughout all of school. Now, her abilities first manifested during puberty, and she would actually use these abilities to become the top student in class. She would use her telepathic abilities to know all the answers before they even read the question. Now, Emma Frost would run away from home at a young age, but that was only after her father found out that she is having a romantic relationship with one of her teachers. Now, no need to worry, Emma would be fine. Using her powers, she was able to land on her feet no problem. Now, what she decided to do at that point was start amassing a fortune. Now, she used her abilities to work her way up the corporate ladder and start amassing her own fortune so that she would be taken care of for the rest of her life. Because of the high-end status that she created for herself and put herself on such a plateau, she was eventually invited to join the Hellfire Club, which only the brightest and the biggest of the big are ever invited to join them. Now, while she was in the club, she went by the name the White Queen, where at this time she would help the club start to go after global and financial domination of the world. Now, eventually she would go on and read one of the members' minds and find out that their true mission was to kill all mutants. Now, that was the true mission of the Hellfire Club originally, was to kill all mutants. Now, with the help of fellow mutant Sebastian Shaw, she would go ahead and take down all the rest of the members of the Hellfire Club and rename it the Inner Circle. Now, she would take on the duties of running a prep school, but in this prep school, it was actually a front for them to recruit members to the Inner Circle. Now, Emma would get into a great battle with the X-Men, and she would be left in a coma at the end of this. But her last wishes were that her students and her school were left in the care of Charles Xavier. Now, an enemy is still an enemy, but a human would destroy all the mutants in that school, where Charles would make sure they're safe, and she knew that. Now, when Emma awoke from her coma, her school had been merged with the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. She was extremely pissed at the fact that Xavier just merged the two schools, but eventually the X-Men and the rest of the team would get together and win her over. She would eventually go on to join the X-Men, and she would go on to begin training the team, Generation X. Now, Emma would later on go to teach at Genosha, when she would be the only survivor of a huge Sentinel attack, calling it the Sentinel Massacre. Now, she only survived because of her secondary mutation, which causes her to get diamond solid skin, making it almost unbreakable. Now, after this, Emma would return to teach at the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters, where she became really close friends with Beast and had a deep sexual attraction to Cyclops. Not to mention, at this time, Jean and Cyclops were kind of drifting apart. Now, to make things even worse, Emma would actually offer Scott some psychic counseling to get through some issues that he's dealing with. But this would eventually blossom into a full-on psychic affair the two would have. Jean was tipped off that this was happening and rushed to the room and actually jumped in and found them together on the astral plane. Jean was so furious she attacked Emma, going through every memory she has in her mind and pulling up the worst ones and making her relive them right there, torturing the woman. Now, Jean would forgive and forget eventually, because one day Esme, a former protege of Emma, would actually shoot Emma in a weak spot in her diamond form, killing her, breaking her into a million pieces. Beast would almost frantically break down and find every one of the pieces to reassemble Emma, but nothing happened. Jean Grey, or should we call her Jean the Forgiveful, would actually use her abilities to bring Emma back to life. Yeah, Jean Grey's on that level, guys. Watch my history of Jean Grey. Link downstairs. Now, the X-Mansion has been destroyed many times over the years, but at this point, the X-Mansion was actually destroyed by the villain Zorn when he came to took over Manhattan. Now, what had actually happened at this point, after the fact of Zorn being taken down, Jean Grey would be killed during this whole thing. Jean Grey was killed off during this whole event with Zorn. Now, after Zorn was taken care of, Emma and Scott would work together and rebuild the school. And the two would remain there as co-headmasters. Now, when the House of M storyline happened, Emma was one of the few mutants in the world that still retained their powers after the event. Now, during this event, Emma was married to Scott Summers, and they had 3 beautiful children. But this was not the real world, and she knew it right off the bat. Everything would eventually be restored. She remains a big part of the X-Men universe. Now, her powers, all in all, she is considered an Omega-level telepath. She is extremely powerful. She can actually use her abilities to make psychic shields, project thoughts into people's minds, control their minds, and even project illusions in front of them. Also, in her diamond form, she is nigh unbreakable, and except for like that one spot, like I told you, and she is just an all-around badass. Also, cannot be penetrated by other telepaths when she's in her diamond form. So, I forgot to mention that she also does astral project as well. But also in her diamond form, she has superhuman strength, durability, and stamina. So she can go toe-to-toe with some big dogs in diamond form. Guys, what are your opinions about Emma Frost as a character all around? She is a really cool character to me and always have loved her as a big badass telepath. I really did enjoy the storyline where her and Cyclops kind of had the psychic hanky-panky going on. That was actually a really cool storyline, and to see Jean snap the way she did was actually really, really awesome. Guys, let me know what you guys thought about this video and Emma Frost down in the comments below. Also, while you're down there, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell so you can get notified every time we release new videos. Also, go down there and check out our Patreon account and our merchandise. Go down to our Teespring account, which will also be linked down in the description down below. Look at all the custom NerdManDrew shirts that you can only get on Teespring. So guys, make sure to drop that like before you leave this video, and I will see you guys next time right here on NerdManDrew for another episode of Exploring Comics. Alright guys, peace out.